going to try to recreate this long-lost combat system that I made in Bully 20 years ago for an action RPG project that I'm finally working on in Unreal Engine. The goal is to remake the brawling with that scrappy nature. Get that directional dodging in there, counterattacks, the punch button, the kick button, incorporate some of that classic grappling, mixing it up with wrestling moves and some MMA grappling moves and locks. If there's enough people interested and I can get some support and momentum, then I'll continue making these videos as the development moves forward. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is play the game. I put this idle animation in there which has no animation. I just want to look at this camera and I don't like it. I actually want to get a little bit closer. So I'm going to change the FOV a bit to about 45 degrees. And I think in the final prototype it definitely will be different, but I just want to get a little bit close to see the animation as I can kind of get working on it. Alright, so we got this animation that I used for a previous game that had basically a camera behind the character's back, so he's kind of angled in a funny way. We're just going to straighten this guy out a bit. A bit more square, even though being a square is not the best thing to do in a fight. I do want him just to look a little clean so we can kind of work off the punches and kicks from a nice square, simple base. So I'm just going to get his arms and clavicles in a nice combat ready position. Tuck his head down, adjust the feet a bit. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you know I don't really spend too much time on animation. I just want to get something in game, get it working. Let's export this and take a look. Alright, looks pretty good. This model is placeholder. Obviously this is from Mad Streets. It's got some skinning issues, but I'll just work with this guy until I get some of the new characters out and ready to go. Alright, so first, basically we're going to get some rhythm here for his hips. I do want to add a little bit of movement. I'm not just going to do a simple up and down. I'm going to do some sort of like a back and forward kind of bob or hop. Well, he's not going to hop. Bounce. So get some keys here. Up, down. This is obviously sped up. I'm adding my voice after because the video was too long. Yeah, so there's a couple ways I kind of work with animation before getting in game. Sometimes I'll do the entire animation and then look at it in game and tweak it afterwards. And there's sometimes I'll just work on a specific body part, go in game engine and see how that works, how that feels, and then just work off that body part by body part. Might be a little bit strange, but it is what it is. So as long as the bounce is looking good in game, then we're ready to move on. It's looking good here. Okay, let's export and let's check out this. This is him bouncing in real time. So it looks good. Looks sturdy. His feet are kind of weird, but overall, it's square. It's good. Good bounce. Not too much noise. Okay, it's going to add some side-to-side movement here as well. So as he bounces forward, he's going to kind of move his hips to the left. As he goes back, he's going to move his hips to the right. So we got that, that's working good. Okay, back in. Let's work on the upper body. I'm just going to put a couple keys here. I'm not going to put a lot of movement. I want the idols for these characters to be a bit clean. And when I say clean, not a lot of motion, because these guys will play kind of upper body, split body hits, just like in the combat video I had before. So, if they're moving all over the place, they're if their head's gonna get hit or their upper body's gonna get hit, it could end up being noisy and not readable. Okay, now I'm just gonna add a little bounce to the clavicles, I think. Just fix up this arm. Okay, yeah, here we go. Key in the middle, key at the end, and just a simple up and down movement. Kind of works with the bounce. Obviously, this is sped up so much you can't see, but let's go in the game. Alright. Very simple. Not a lot of movement. Pretty rigid. Rigid is good as long as it's readable. The polish can come later. Even if there's like awesome animator that I can work with later on, you can come in and make the stuff look better. As long as the base is there, then he or she's got something to work off. Just gonna try to put some motion in the neck here. Dip the head. I think my neck joint is kind of in a weird spot too, so it might not look so good here from what I remember. Looking a little too fast here. I'm just kind of swaying, like pushing the hand out forward and back a bit as he sways forward and back. Just a little extra motion on top of the bounce. Because really, I haven't added much to his upper arm or forearm. It's really his clavicle, and because his hips are moving, there's already a lot of motion. So I think they can just do with a little bit of forward and back. Same with the clavicles themselves. And then it's going to take one and just delay most of the keys by a frame so that they're not in sync with each other, the left and right arm. When I'm grabbing a arm controller and moving it, it's actually moving all the keys for the arm. That's why you're not seeing me select everything and shift it all over. Export that. Alright. Simple, clean. Can't wait to start working on some punches. Actually, we're probably going to start looking at the inputs before we move on to the actual moves. Try to remember what we did before back at Rockstar. It's kind of interesting too. Like I've read a lot of the comments over the last couple of years about the system and why and what people thought why it wasn't in. It actually didn't make it in because I didn't. First of all, I didn't show too many people. I kind of like I wanted to get something like this in, but I also knew it was way too complicated for the game that Bully was. Bullying in the end turned out to be much more simplified than it was during the time I was making this combat demo. But aside from that, it, you know, it was its own thing. It was a good piece to work on. There definitely was some aspects of it that fit, like the scrappy nature, the brawling. I think the complexity with some of my methods really kind of take it into a different area. Like it's more of an action beat 'em up at that point. But it's all good because that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I think I tried this kind of sway with his upper body forward and back, very minimal, but it kind of looked like I don't know. It didn't look like he was kind of combat ready at some points when he was swaying back, so I took that out. All right, so this is that without that sway. I think it's pretty decent. Let's do a pass on the feet here. Just gonna go cheap style here. Just rotate it. I'm not gonna worry about pivot points. Let's get ready to export that. Okay, the legs look better. Feet look better. It's gonna look awesome with more of his secondary playing, but I'll worry about that kind of stuff once I get the new model in. But overall, that's it. That's good. Good to go. Look forward to the next video.